My precious soul, something is shifting in the unseen, and you can feel it in your spirit, even if you cannot explain it in words. Tonight, a revelation is moving toward you like a whisper carried on the wings of heaven, and Archangel Michael is stepping forward to make sure you do not miss what is meant for you. He says, December 2nd is not an ordinary day. It is the day a sealed name was spoken in the courts of heaven, and that name was yours. This message is not random. You were drawn here because someone you once loved quietly, deeply, secretly, someone you never confessed your full heart to, just spoke your name before the angels. Not out of longing alone, but out of divine alignment. This person, the one your spirit held onto in silence, released a sound into heaven that began to move things around your life without you even knowing. And Archangel Michael stands as a witness to what just happened. He is showing me a vision, a soft glow around a familiar face, someone who once touched your heart with gentleness, yet the timing was never right. Someone who moved through your thoughts like a quiet ache. Someone you released with your hands, but never fully released with your soul. And now heaven has heard them speak your name. When a name is spoken in the spirit realm with sincerity, it creates a ripple. It draws angels. It opens doors. It calls destiny forward. And what was once suppressed becomes seen. What was once hidden becomes revealed. What was once delayed begins to accelerate. Archangel Michael says this person did not speak your name casually. It wasn't a memory. It wasn't nostalgia. It was a spiritual pull. They felt something press on their heart suddenly, unexpectedly, urging them to think of you, to remember you, to wonder about you. And when they whispered your name, the sound entered the book of divine connection. You have no idea how powerful your spirit is. You have no idea how deeply heaven has been watching the quiet corners of your heart. You never begged for love. You never chased it. You held your emotions with purity. You cared silently, without wanting attention or validation. And those silent emotions were not ignored, they were recorded. Archangel Michael says, you loved quietly, but heaven heard loudly. There are some loves that are human, and some loves that are divine. Some connections that are emotional, and some that are written before birth. Some feelings that fade, and some that remain because heaven has not released them yet. On December 2nd, something in the spiritual realm shifted because of this person's whisper. The angels leaned in, the atmosphere moved, and a message began traveling toward you. That message has reached you tonight. And the message is this: you are not forgotten. Your love was not invisible. Your silent heart was never unheard. Archangel Michael is clearing interference around your relationships, distractions, false attachments, emotional noise, all the things that kept clarity away. Because when heaven recognizes a connection, no confusion can stay. Something sacred is unfolding, slowly but powerfully. And if your spirit is sensing this right now, that tingling, that heaviness in your chest, that strange feeling like something is waking up, then you already know this message is for you. There will be signs. There will be confirmations. There will be unexpected moments that line up too perfectly to ignore. And Michael says, stay alert, because heaven is preparing a reveal. Not a reveal of drama, but a reveal of truth. The truth of who your spirit has been tied to. The truth of what you were always meant to understand. The truth of the connection you thought was over but heaven kept alive. Something deeper is coming toward you, and if you step away too quickly, you will miss the most important turn of your path. So breathe, stay present, because the next movement of this message will explain why your heart held on when your mind tried to let go. Hold your ground right here. The revelation that follows will change the way you see everything. Type "I received this revelation" in the comments if this is touching your spirit. Blessing code 144 is activated over you. Before you move ahead, just pause, because the part that comes next will open what Michael calls the hidden chapter. You'll want to hear every word. Beloved heart, as you step deeper into this unfolding revelation, the atmosphere around you begins to shift even more. Archangel Michael now stands closer, not as a distant guardian, but as a powerful presence guiding your spirit into clarity. He says that what happened on December 2nd was not an emotional coincidence. It was a spiritual event, a divine stirring that you were meant to feel even before you understood it. You may have noticed that they carried a strange weight, a softness, or a sudden memory that came out of nowhere. That was the very moment your name rose in the spirit realm, carried by the whisper of the one your heart once kept hidden. Michael reveals something deeper now. The person who spoke your name did not do it from confusion or loneliness. It came from recognition. For a long time, this person pushed away their own emotions, just as you did. They buried what they felt because the timing was unclear, the circumstances unstable, or the fear too loud. But on December 2nd, something broke open. The spirit felt pulled toward you with a force they could not explain. The more they tried to ignore it, the stronger the tug became. It was as if heaven pressed their heart with your memory until they had no choice but to release your name into the air. And when they did, something ancient awakened. Michael shows me the image of two threads, yours and theirs, woven long before you ever met in this lifetime. These threads loosened over the years, stretched thin, and even looked like they were breaking. But heaven refused to sever them. Instead, the angels kept them preserved, waiting for the day one heart would call out and the other would feel the echo. That day was December 2nd. There are moments when the spiritual realm aligns with your timeline. These are not random dates, they are divine intersections. December 2nd is now stamped as one of those intersections for you. It marks the moment heaven reopened a connection you thought was over. You may have wondered why your spirit has felt unsettled recently, why old emotions have resurfaced, or why your dreams have been strangely vivid. Michael says this is because heaven is waking up what was dormant, bringing it into motion, so you no longer walk blind to what your soul already knows. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that silence has never been weakness. You loved in silence because you loved purely. You felt deeply without demanding anything in return. That kind of love is rare. That kind of love is recorded in heaven because it mirrors the heart of God, patient, sincere, and unselfish. When your spirit loved quietly, the angels listened loudly. When you felt emotions you never confessed, heaven documented every one of them. Nothing you felt was wasted. Nothing was forgotten. Nothing disappeared. But here is where the revelation expands. Your silent love did something most people never experience. It created a spiritual imprint. When two souls share a connection marked by purity, that connection enters the spiritual archives, stored until the right moment of activation. December 2nd was that activation. Michael says, this is not about longing. This is about alignment. You were not waiting for this person. You were being prepared. And now, heaven is preparing them. This person is going through a stirring in their spirit too. They may not understand it yet. They may not have words for it. They may even feel confused by the sudden emotional pull they are experiencing. But just as you felt their whisper reach you, they will soon feel the weight of your name rise within them again. Because heaven is creating symmetry. Michael warns you not to underestimate the spiritual significance of this moment. When a name is spoken in the courts of heaven, angels begin rearranging paths. Opportunities shift. Old cycles end. Emotional fog lifts. Destiny threads tighten. This is what is happening around you right now. Your life may begin to feel like things are moving quickly, almost too quickly, and yet everything will make perfect sense at the right moment. You may begin seeing the number 2 more often, on clocks, receipts, timestamps, or unexpected places. Michael says this is the symbol of duality, unity, reconciliation, and divine partnership. Do not dismiss these signs when they appear. They are not coincidences. They are confirmations of what is unfolding. You may also feel a sudden desire to release old attachments, old wounds, or old expectations. This is not your imagination. Michael is clearing space within you so that you do not misinterpret the coming revelations. When heaven intends to align 2 spirits, it first removes every voice, distraction, and emotional weight that could cloud the message. You are in that clearing right now. The next stage in this unfolding will reveal why heaven kept this connection alive, why your spirit never fully let go, and why timing has always been the key. Michael says, what is coming next will explain the meaning of your waiting. Before you move forward, hold this truth close. You are stepping into a chapter where heaven speaks louder than your fear. Something sacred is approaching you, and the next movement of this message will open the door even wider. Wait for it, because the revelation that follows will reach the part of your heart you have never spoken about. My chosen soul, as we move deeper into this divine unfolding, the atmosphere around your spirit becomes even more charged. Archangel Michael stands beside you with a clarity that almost feels like a pull on the inside of your chest. He says the time has come to reveal why your name being spoken in heaven on December 2nd has stirred such an intense spiritual shift. This is not just about a connection. It is about destiny waking up after years of silence. Michael shows me a moment in your past, a moment where you loved someone quietly, almost fearfully, because you sensed something sacred between you but could not put words to it. You held your emotions carefully, respectfully, not wanting to disturb their peace or your own. Yet something in you recognized something in them. It was not attraction alone. It was familiarity, a soul memory, a spiritual recognition that made no logical sense, yet felt truer than anything else. You thought you let this person go. You convinced yourself the time would wash away the connection. But time never released it, because heaven never released it. Archangel Michael now reveals a powerful truth. The reason your spirit never fully shut the door is because this connection was not built on emotion alone. It was built on purpose. Heaven assigned meaning to this person long before your paths crossed. And even when life separated you, the spiritual imprint remained in touch. You were not holding on out of longing. You were holding on because your soul remembered something your mind could not access yet. Michael says the person who spoke your name on December 2nd felt the same soul memory awakening. They did not whisper your name because they were bored or lonely. They spoke it because something inside them broke open. A memory. A pull, a calling. They felt a presence connected to you rise up in their spirit, and without thinking, your name escaped their lips. The moment that happened, an angelic ripple moved through the unseen realm. That ripple carried your name like a prophecy. It activated angelic movement. It reopened the chapter heaven had preserved. It called destiny to attention. This is why you may have felt sudden heaviness, sudden clarity, sudden warmth, or sudden questioning around that time. Your soul was responding to a spiritual summons. Michael emphasizes that this is not a message about going back to the past. This is about alignment. This is about the version of you and the version of them finally reaching the point in life where clarity becomes possible. You were not ready then. They were not ready then. Heaven was not ready then. But now the alignment has begun. He says, do not think for a moment that this is coincidence. Everything in the spirit realm is intentional. This person has been sensing you too. They may not be able to explain it. They may not utter the words yet, but their spirit is waking up. Their heart is softening. Their mind is opening. Something in them is remembering the purity of what you once carried for them. And even if they cannot articulate what is happening, heaven is guiding them toward understanding. Michael wants you to prepare your heart, not with fear, not with expectation, but with openness. What is coming is not meant to disrupt your life. It is meant to align it. You will not have to chase. You will not have to force. You will not have to prove anything. The path will unfold naturally in a way that honors your growth and their awakening. And something important is coming next. Michael says there is a truth about this connection that has been hidden from you, not because heaven was withholding it, but because you were not ready to receive it. A truth that will make everything make sense. A truth that will explain the pull, the timing, the delay, the silence, and the sudden activation on December 2nd. Before you hear it, slow your breath, because the meaning behind this truth carries weight. Michael whispers, what was quiet is about to speak. What was delayed is about to accelerate. And what was hidden is about to be revealed. You are approaching the point in this message where everything shifts. Do not step away now. Your spirit is on the edge of understanding something it waited years to know. Before we continue, pause for a moment. The next revelation will open the doorway to what your heart has always sensed, but never understood. Hold your place right here, because this next unfolding will be unforgettable. Like this message, share it with someone who needs it. Comment your experience. Hype this video so the word reaches further, and subscribe to the channel for more prophetic guidance like this. Type I walk into alignment in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 313 is now moving over you. When a moment like December 2nd opens in the spiritual realm, heaven calls certain souls to stand with the message, to carry the light forward so more hearts can awaken. If this revelation is stirring something deep inside you, then hear this gently. I invite you to sow into this mission, not as support for a channel, but as a seed into the souls that heaven is trying to reach. Every offering becomes a beam of light, a river of living water flowing into someone else's darkness. When you give, it is as though God Himself whispers, I will multiply what you release. I speak this invitation from my spirit to yours. Step into this moment. The theme of this message is alignment, and giving is one of the most powerful acts of alignment you can make. For those who feel the pull, super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description is your altar. As you give, may the heavens open over your life with divine remembrance, divine restoration, and divine clarity. Now step boldly. Heaven is watching. Dearest soul of light, as we step further into this sacred unfolding, Archangel Michael begins to unveil the part of the mystery that has been kept closest to your spirit. The air around this message grows heavier, not with fear, but with the weight of truth. He says that you have reached the threshold where illusion falls away, and the deeper meaning behind December 2nd begins to reveal itself. If your heart feels stirred, it is because your spirit recognizes what is coming. Something ancient, something written long before this lifetime, is now rising to the surface. Michael shows me an image of your spirit during the moments you loved in silence. He reveals that when you held your feelings privately, heaven did not see it as restraint. Heaven saw it as honor. You protected the purity of your emotions. You did not manipulate. You did not force. You did not chase. Instead, you held your heart with humility, even when your heart longed for expression. That type of love is rare, and heaven treasures rare things. This is why your silent love created a spiritual imprint. When love is pure, heaven marks it. When love is sincere, angels guard it. When love is unspoken yet truthful, it becomes a spiritual echo that cannot die. This is the echo that was activated on December 2nd. Michael now reveals that the person who spoke your name sensed this echo before they even realized it. Your name rose inside them like a memory they could not escape. They may have tried to distract themselves, but the thought persisted. They may have tried to suppress it, but the pull only grew stronger. And in a moment of surrender, they whispered your name. That whisper was not small. It was a spiritual key, and it unlocked something heaven had waited to release. What heaven unlocked is what Michael is ready to reveal now. Your soul and their soul have crossed paths in more ways than you know. This is why the connection never truly dissolved, no matter how much time or distance separated you. Your spirits recognize each other beyond logic, beyond the mind, beyond the limits of this lifetime. And the reason you loved this person quietly is because your spirit already remembered them. This kind of connection is not ordinary. It is not accidental. It is not fleeting. It is the kind that heaven protects because it has purpose. And when something has purpose, heaven does not allow it to be lost in chaos or buried by mistakes. Heaven waits for the right moment, the divine intersection, where both souls are ready to understand the magnitude of what they carry. December 2nd was that intersection. Michael says the reason you were drawn to this message is because heaven is preparing you for clarity. The connection you once felt is not returning to harm you or confuse you. It is returning to illuminate you, to awaken you, to remind you that destiny is never delayed. It is only calibrated. The person who spoke your name is now experiencing a softening of the heart. Their spirit is being guided, touched, and stirred by the same angelic presence that surrounds you now. They are beginning to feel emotions they suppress. They are beginning to revisit memories they believed were meaningless. They are beginning to understand that your presence in their life was never random. And though they may not yet see the full picture, heaven is drawing them toward the truth. Michael reveals that this person is being spiritually awakened because heaven is preparing both of you for something greater than the past. Not a repetition, but a revelation. Not a return to old wounds, but a return to what was written before the wounds ever existed. But before this revelation comes fully into your life, Michael says there is one thing heaven needs you to release: the belief that you are unworthy of the love you once gave. Your silence did not come from weakness. It came from depth. Your restraint did not come from insecurity. It came from respect. Your quiet heart did not make you invisible. It made you chosen. Heaven recorded your love because it was true. Heaven protected your love because it was clean. And heaven is now preparing to return to you what your heart once carried with purity. Michael warns you gently. Do not let fear interpret what heaven is aligning. Fear looks at the past. Heaven looks at destiny. Fear remembers wounds. Heaven remembers purpose. Fear imagines loss. Heaven prepares connection. You are stepping into a moment where the unseen becomes clear. You are approaching the doorway where understanding replaces confusion. You are moving toward a revelation that will explain why your spirit held on long after your mind released it. Listen closely. Michael says, what you loved silently, heaven is now speaking loudly. What you carried alone, the angels are now carrying with you. There's a message coming, not from this video, but from the divine realm that will meet you in a moment you least expect. A sign, a confirmation, a shift in the atmosphere. And when it happens, your spirit will recognize it instantly. Stay with this message. The next unfolding will reveal the truth behind the spiritual imprint that ties your souls together. Hold on. You will not want to miss what comes next. Beloved one, as we move deeper into this unfolding mystery, Archangel Michael now begins to reveal the layer that has been hidden, even from your own understanding. He says you are entering the part of this message where your heart and your spirit begin to align with truth at the same time. That is why you may feel a strange heaviness in your chest or soft warmth around your shoulders right now. These sensations are not random. They are signs that your spirit is receiving what was always meant for you. Michael shows me a moment in your life when you felt overlooked, unseen, forgotten, or emotionally abandoned. It may have been years ago, or it may have been recently, but this moment carved something deep inside you. It shaped the way you love, the way you trust, the way you protect your heart. And because of that moment, you learned to keep your deepest emotions silent. You learned to love quietly because you feared that speaking would lead to loss. You learned to hold your heart gently because you thought no one else would. This is why the connection you once felt for the person who spoke your name ran so deeply. They entered your life during a time when your heart needed recognition, even if you didn't say it. They appeared not as a coincidence, but as a response to your spirit's longing to be understood. You felt safe with them in ways that surprised you. You felt seen even in the smallest interactions. You felt a pull toward them that you couldn't explain, yet you could not allow yourself to reveal it fully. So you loved them in silence. Michael now reveals that heaven was watching the entire time. When you kept your heart hidden, heaven did not see suppression. Heaven saw protection. When you loved quietly, heaven did not see distance. Heaven saw reverence. When you walked away or stayed silent because you feared hurting them or yourself, heaven did not see avoidance. Heaven saw maturity. You honored a connection your mind did not fully understand, but your spirit respected deeply. And that is why the moment they whispered your name in heaven was so powerful. Michael says you must understand this. The reason your name rose into the spiritual realm on December 2nd was not because you were forgotten or abandoned. It was because the connection needed time to ripen. You were becoming someone stronger, wiser, more grounded, more aligned. And they were being shaped too, even through experiences that hurt, confused, or transformed them. But now, both of your paths are reaching a place where clarity becomes possible. Heaven never wastes love. Heaven never forgets sincerity. Heaven never ignores purity. This is why the silent love you carried did not dissolve. It was sealed. Michael shows me an image of a golden envelope in the spiritual realm. Inside it is a message that was written long before you ever crossed paths with this person. A message about your purpose together. A message about what your connection was meant to awaken in both of you. But the envelope remained sealed until one soul called out to the other. That calling was their whisper. That whisper was the key. And on December 2nd, the envelope opened. This is why your spirit has been feeling different lately. Even if you try to distract yourself, something keeps pulling your heart back. Even if you try to move on or focus elsewhere, a strange awareness keeps rising inside you. It is not obsession. It is not attachment. It is awakening. Michael says the spiritual imprint between you two has been activated. This imprint carries meaning, memory, purpose, alignment, and destiny. It does not guarantee romance. It does not guarantee reunion. It guarantees something far deeper, clarity. Heaven is preparing to show you the truth about this connection. Not the fantasy, not the fear, not the assumptions, but the spiritual reality. And once you see the truth, everything will make sense. The silence, the timing, the pull, the whisper, the reactivation. Michael says the person who spoke your name is undergoing a divine stirring. They may be dreaming of you. They may be remembering moments they forgot. They may be feeling emotions they buried. They may be sensing your presence without understanding why. They may even feel a sudden desire to reach out, even if they hesitate. Heaven is working on them because heaven is preparing them. You must trust this process. Do not rush it. Do not fear it. Do not create a narrative based on past pain. Michael tells you, when heaven moves, it moves perfectly. He says you are approaching a moment where something will happen that confirms everything you are hearing right now. A sign that feels too precise to ignore. A moment that interrupts your day with clarity. A shift in the atmosphere that touches your spirit instantly. And when that moment comes, you will know heaven has spoken. Stay with this journey. You are getting closer to the truth than you have ever been. Before you move further, let this settle in your heart. The next revelation will expose the deeper purpose behind this connection. Something you were never told. Something heaven kept hidden until the time was right. Wait for it. Because what comes next will awaken the part of your spirit that has been waiting in silence. Beloved spirit, as we journey further into this unfolding revelation, Archangel Michael steps forward with a firmness in his presence, as though the air around you is preparing to shift once again. He says you are now entering the most delicate part of this message, the layer where heaven reveals not just what happened, but why it happened. You are stepping into the depth behind the whisper, the truth behind the pull, the meaning behind the spiritual imprint that awakened on December 2nd. Michael shows me a moment in your heart when you believed you had finally released everything connected to this person. You convinced yourself that the chapter was closed. You told your mind to move on. You trained your emotions to detach, and you placed your memories into a quiet corner of your heart. But what you did not know is that heaven was holding one page of your story open, waiting for the appointed time. This is why your spirit reacted instantly when their name rose in heaven. Even without hearing them, even without seeing them, even without knowing the moment it happened, you felt the shift. Because your soul is connected to the spiritual echo of your own name. And when it is spoken with sincerity, your spirit hears it even if your mind does not understand it. Michael reveals that on December 2nd, something deeper happened in the unseen realm. When this person spoke your name, they unintentionally opened a memory in their spirit. Not a memory of a moment from this lifetime alone, but a spiritual memory, recognition at the soul level. This recognition is what made their whisper so powerful. Heaven responds not to human words, but to spiritual truth. And the truth in their spirit called out to you. This person is not randomly thinking of you. They are awakening. They are beginning to sense that something unfinished exists between your souls. They may not realize why. They may not have the vocabulary to describe it. But their spirit feels the weight of something sacred. Michael says this awakening is happening on both sides. You are feeling a shift. They are feeling a pull. Heaven is feeling alignment. And now the truth begins to unfold. Michael shows me that your silent love did not remain silent in the spiritual realm. It created a mark, a seal, a holy imprint that tied your soul to theirs in a way that time, distance, silence, or fear could not erase. The purity of your emotions was the seal. The restraint of your actions was the protection. The quietness of your heart was the honor. Heaven guards what is pure. Heaven protects what is clean. Heaven preserves what is divinely timed. This is why heaven waited. This is why heaven did not release this connection from your spirit. This is why the whisper had the power to activate something dormant. Michael says, some connections are not meant to fade. They are meant to awaken. But here is the part heaven kept hidden from you, the deeper purpose behind this connection. Your souls were meant to awaken something in each other. You were meant to activate each other's spiritual growth, emotional clarity, and divine alignment. You were meant to mirror wounds that needed healing, strengths that needed remembering, and purpose that needed awakening. This connection was always about more than emotion. It was about destiny. This is why you felt such a powerful pull toward them, even when you tried to suppress it. This is why they felt something for you that they could never put into words. This is why life separated you before either of you could fully understand the connection, because the connection was not meant to flourish when you were unprepared. It was meant to return when both souls reached readiness. December 2nd marked the moment their soul reached the threshold of readiness. Michael tells you this truth with gentleness. They spoke your name because their spirit remembered you before their mind did. Heaven responded to their spirit. Heaven touched yours. And now the alignment has begun. But Michael warns that as heaven prepares the next stage of this revealing, you must remain grounded. Do not allow fear, overthinking, insecurity, or impatience to cloud what heaven is doing. Do not assume how the story will unfold. Do not create conclusions based on the past. The past was preparation. The present is awakening. And the future is revelation. Michael says you will begin to notice spiritual signs increasing around you. Dreams, synchronicities, symbols, unexpected thoughts, moments of déjà vu, or even subtle emotional waves that feel like they are not entirely your own. This is because your spirits are becoming attuned once again. You will also feel moments where you sense their energy strongly, almost as if their presence brushes against your own. When this happens, do not fear it. Do not overanalyze it. Simply acknowledge it. Heaven is bridging your spirits. And soon, a turning point will arrive. Michael says, you are approaching the moment where heaven brings understanding. What was hidden will now begin to reveal itself. Stay with this journey. Stay open. Stay aligned. Everything you are hearing is preparing you for the next layer, the purpose behind the reactivation, the meaning behind the alignment, and the message heaven is delivering through this connection. Do not step away. You are closer than you realize to the revelation that will transform how you see your own story. Beloved soul of divine purpose, as we continue deeper into this unfolding revelation, Archangel Michael's presence becomes even more vivid around you. He stands not behind you, not beside you, but before you, as if guiding you towards something heaven has kept sealed until this very moment. He says the next layer of this message carries weight, and your spirit must be steady to receive it. You are stepping into the heart of the mystery behind December 2nd. Michael shows me an image of two paths that once ran parallel. Close enough to feel the other's presence, yet distant enough that neither path could merge. You walked your way, carrying maturity that came from pain. They walked theirs, carrying lessons that came from confusion. And although life moved both of you forward, the spiritual imprint between you remained untouched, protected like a sacred covenant. This is why the whisper carried such power. This is why your heart felt stirred even before you knew what happened. This is why your spirit reacted when your mind stayed silent. Michael says the whisper was not simply a moment, it was an awakening. When they spoke your name in heaven, their spirit made a request it had never made before. Not a request for reunion or romance, a request for clarity. Their soul asked to see truth. Their spirit asked to understand purpose. Their heart asked for guidance. And the moment they spoke your name with sincerity, heaven responded instantly. You must understand this clearly. Your name carried weight because you carried them in purity. And heaven always responds to purity. Michael shows me that this person has been feeling a void inside them, something they cannot explain. They have been revisiting old memories without meaning to. They have been feeling a pull towards something they long dismissed. They have been questioning what they thought they understood. And although they may appear composed on the outside, something deep within them is unraveling, not in weakness, but in awakening. Heaven is softening them. Heaven is touching them. Heaven is preparing them. Michael reveals a truth you were never told. Your connection served as a mirror for their soul. You awakened something inside them that no one else did. You triggered a part of their spirit that had been asleep, a longing for authenticity, for truth, for emotional depth they were afraid to express. And because of this awakening, they ran from their own feelings. Not because they did not care, but because they cared more than they knew how to handle. You must hear this. They could not receive you then because they did not yet recognize themselves. But heaven does not allow purpose to die. Heaven does not let destiny dissolve. Heaven does not let pure connections fade into nothingness. Instead, heaven preserves them until both souls reach the point of understanding. December 2nd was the moment they reached that point. Michael now shows me an image of your spirit, strong, matured, grounded, softened through hardship and refined through time. This is why heaven allowed your heart to rest in silence for so long. You were being shaped, and now the shaping is complete enough for the revelation to begin. But before heaven brings clarity, before signs intensify, before the spiritual alignment unfolds fully, Michael says you must prepare your heart for something sacred. The next stage will not look like the past. It will not feel like confusion. It will not repeat old patterns. Because heaven is not bringing back pain. Heaven is bringing understanding. The person who whispered your name is being spiritually awakened, and heaven is preparing you to receive the truth without fear. The old emotions you once felt were raw, unprocessed, and overwhelming. But the emotions that are coming now will be mature, steady, and aligned. Michael says, the love you once carried silently is now being translated into revelation. This is why your dreams have been shifting, why your intuition is sharper, why your emotions rise without warning, and why your spirit feels like it is listening for something. Your soul is preparing for a message, a divine message that is coming toward you like a current. But here is the part you must hear. Heaven does not awaken two spirits without purpose. The activation you felt is leading to a moment of truth. Something that will not come from guessing, hoping, or imagining. Something that will come directly from the spirit realm. Michael says this moment will arrive unexpectedly, like a spark, a sign, a message, a memory, or a shift in energy that hits your spirit with certainty. Prepare your heart. Calm your spirit. Stand in readiness. The truth behind this divine awakening is approaching you, and the next part of this message will reveal what heaven has been waiting to show you. Before we continue, pause for just a breath, because what comes next begins to uncover the actual message the angels are sending, the one you were destined to receive at this exact moment in your life. Trust me, the unveiling ahead will touch a place inside you that has waited in silence for years. Beloved one of divine calling, as you walk deeper into this revelation, the presence of Archangel Michael grows even stronger, almost as if the air around you is forming a shield of clarity. He says you have finally reached a turning point in this message, a place where heaven begins to show you what all of this has been preparing you for. This is not the beginning of the story, and it is not the conclusion. It is the unveiling. The layer where heaven lifts the veil slowly so your spirit can recognize what your soul has known all along. Michael shows me that the silent love you carried was not merely emotional. It was prophetic. Every feeling, every moment of quiet yearning, every unspoken thought, every time you looked at this person and said nothing, it all planted something in the spiritual realm. Seeds are never wasted when they are planted in purity. Heaven responds to seeds that were watered with sincerity, guarded with reverence, and released with humility. That is why heaven could not forget your love. That is why your name rose on December 2nd with such force that the angels took notice. Michael now reveals something profound about the person who spoke your name that day. He says they did not just think of you, they felt you. They felt the energy of your presence brush against their spirit like a memory waking up. For a moment, they remembered you the way your soul remembers them, without fear, without distance, without the walls time built. And when they whispered your name, their soul was calling for clarity, calling for understanding, calling for truth. But here is where the revelation deepens. Michael says the whisper was not only a moment of awakening for them, it triggered a chain reaction in the spiritual realm. Angels began moving. Old blockages started dissolving. Emotional fog began lifting. Delays that once felt suffocating began to break. Because heaven does not respond to confusion. Heaven responds to alignment. And your souls are now entering spiritual alignment. But listen very carefully. This does not mean heaven is forcing a reunion. This does not mean heaven is recreating the past. This does not mean heaven is pushing this person back into your life out of nostalgia. Heaven is not building a bridge to the past. Heaven is building a bridge to purpose. Michael reveals that the connection between your souls carries a meaning you have not yet fully understood. It is a meaning that transcends emotion, transcends time, and transcends circumstance. The reason the connection never fully dissolved was not because of longing, but because of destiny. This person carries a part of your spiritual story. You carry a part of theirs. And heaven has now reached the moment where the next page must be open. Michael shows me that this person is experiencing things they cannot explain, sudden emotions, unexpected memories, a strange spiritual awareness, dreams that press on their heart, moments of quiet reflection that feel heavy yet comforting. They are being stirred from the inside out. Their heart is opening. Their spirit is thawing. Their mind is slowing down long enough for heaven to speak. And heaven is speaking. Michael says this awakening is not one-sided. Your spirit is being awakened too. You have been feeling it. The subtle pull, the emotional shifts, the quiet intuition, the sense that something is coming toward you. This is not imagination. This is divine alignment. Your soul is preparing for clarity because clarity is approaching you. But before heaven unveils the next truth, Michael gives this gentle warning. Do not allow fear to rewrite the message. Do not let past wounds shape your expectation. Do not assume the outcome. Do not build narratives out of old pain. You must stay open. Because heaven is not reopening an old chapter. Heaven is opening a sealed chapter. Michael says the revelation ahead will not hurt you. It will heal you. It will not confuse you. It will clarify you. It will not burden you. It will free you. Something significant is coming. A sign, a message, a spiritual confirmation that will make the presence of this connection undeniable. You will not have to chase it. You will not have to guess it. You will not have to force it. Heaven will bring it to you at the exact moment your spirit is ready to understand it. And that moment is closer than you think. Michael whispers The next unveiling carries the purpose behind your bond. Prepare your heart, because what comes next is the most important revelation yet. Before we step into that, pause. Breathe. Because the next unfolding is the one heaven has been preparing you for since the beginning of this message. Stay close now. This is where everything begins to make sense. Like this message, share it so others can awaken. Comment your experience, hype this video, and subscribe so these revelations continue to reach your spirit when heaven sends them. Type "I receive the divine purpose" in the comments if your soul is ready. Blessing code 828 is now released over your journey. And now, move gently into this moment. The message flowing from heaven does not end here. It expands. The whisper from December 2nd was not only a spiritual awakening, it was a call for restoration, for truth, for alignment. If this message is stirring something sacred inside you, then hear this invitation with reverence. I call you to partner with this mission of spreading God's word, not for the sake of a channel, but for the sake of the souls who are waiting for their own awakening. When you give, heaven multiplies. When you sow, you break open spiritual ground for others. I speak this from my spirit to yours. Let your offering be a prophetic act. Super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes your altar of alignment. As you release, may rivers of clarity, healing, and divine timing flow back into your life. Step boldly. Grace is watching you. Beloved soul of divine sensitivity, as we step further into the sacred unfolding, Archangel Michael reveals that you are entering the part of this journey where heaven begins to untangle the spiritual threads that have bound your story to this person in ways you never fully understood. He says what comes now is not merely insight. It is illumination. But light shining on the hidden meanings behind the emotions you carried, the silence you endured, and the awakening sparked on December 2nd, when your name rose into the heavenly realm. Michael shows me an image of your heart at a time when you questioned your own worth. You wondered why certain connections felt so intense, so meaningful, yet so unreachable. You questioned why you felt so deeply for someone you could never express yourself to fully. Somewhere inside you, you believed that your silence meant your love was unnoticed. But heaven says otherwise. Michael reveals that your silent love was never a small thing. In the spiritual realm, it was a vibration, a prayer, a message that heaven translated even when you could not speak it aloud. You cared with humility. You loved without demand. You held your emotions with integrity. And heaven recorded all of it. That is why your name carried such power when they whispered it on December 2nd. Heaven matched their whisper with the memories of your quiet devotion. Michael now shows me a sacred truth. This person did not just whisper your name, they released a spiritual signal. This signal awakened the imprint between your souls. It called forward what had been sleeping in your spirit. It stirred a chapter heaven had kept sealed, waiting until both your hearts were mature enough to understand what it truly meant. You did not imagine your awakening. It was a spiritual response to their call. Heaven responded because heaven knew your heart's purity. Heaven responded because your love was clean. Heaven responded because the time had come for clarity. Michael says something profound. Your heart is not awakening to the past. It is awakening to truth. And the truth is this. Your connection with this person was never meant to disappear. It was meant to evolve. It was meant to transform you. It was meant to teach you spiritual depth, emotional honesty, and divine timing. And now that evolution is reaching its next level, Michael reveals that this person is being guided through a spiritual transition. Their heart is softening. Their mind is shifting. Their priorities are rearranging. They are being prepared to confront emotions they once buried, questions they once ignored, and memories they once pushed away. Heaven is not pushing them toward you. Heaven is pulling them toward truth. But here's the beautiful part. As they awaken, you are awakening too. Your intuition is sharpening. Your dreams are growing clearer. Your emotions are aligning rather than overwhelming. Your spirit is becoming steady, ready, receptive. This is spiritual synchronization. Michael shows me a vision of two lanterns in the dark, each burning separately, each walking its own path, and suddenly, both flames brighten at the same moment. Not because they touched, but because the wind of heaven moved through them simultaneously. That is what is happening right now between your spirits. You are both being awakened, not to chase each other, but to understand each other at the soul level. And now, Michael reveals something you have waited a long time to hear. Heaven is preparing to reveal whether this connection is meant for union, closure, healing, or divine redirection. This is the part your heart has been longing to understand. Yet heaven did not reveal it earlier because your spirit wasn't ready to receive the truth without fear. But now you are ready. Your heart is steady. Your spirit is open. Your mind is quiet enough to hear. What comes next will reveal the purpose behind the imprint. Why your soul held on. Why your spirit reacted. Why heaven preserved this connection. Why December 2nd shifted everything. Michael says this purpose cannot be rushed. It will unfold piece by piece, sign by sign, whisper by whisper. The angels are arranging the final moments before clarity enters your life in a way that reaches not just your heart, but your understanding. But before heaven unveils the truth, you must release something. The belief that you are difficult to love. The belief that your emotions were too much. The belief that silence meant insignificance. You were not insignificant. You were not forgotten. You were not invisible. Your love was a spiritual assignment. Your silence was a holy offering. Your name was a divine imprint. And because of that, heaven cannot leave you without clarity. Michael says the next unfolding will reveal what heaven truly intends for this connection. It will explain the purpose that has followed your soul for years. It will answer questions your heart has whispered in the dark. It will reveal whether this bond is returning, transforming, or concluding with divine peace. You are closer than ever. Your spirit can feel it. Heaven is preparing you for it. Do not step away now. You will want to hear the next revelation. Beloved vessel of divine truth, as we step deeper into this sacred unfolding, Archangel Michael's presence grows intensely focused, as if the spiritual realm itself is leaning closer to you. He says you are entering the part of the message where heaven begins narrowing the distance between understanding and revelation. Everything you have felt, the stirring, the pull, the inner awakening, was preparing you for this very layer. You are now approaching the truth behind why December 2nd carried such weight and why your spirit reacted long before your mind could make sense of it. Michael shows me a vision of your heart during the times you wondered if love was meant for someone like you. You questioned if your depth was a burden, if your silence was weakness, if your emotions were too pure for a world that often rewards indifference. But heaven tells a different story. Heaven saw strength in your softness. Heaven saw power in your restraint. Heaven saw devotion in your silence. And heaven preserved what the world could not see. This is why, when your name rose in the heavenly realm on December 2nd, the angels moved. Because heaven does not respond to noise, it responds to truth. Heaven does not respond to intensity, it responds to purity. And your heart has always carried a purity that remains untouched by time or disappointment. Michael now reveals that the person who whispered your name did so from a place of spiritual vulnerability. They were not seeking answers from the world. They were seeking alignment from the divine. Their spirit reached a moment where confusion could no longer silence them, where longing could no longer be ignored, where avoidance could no longer disguise the truth. Their soul called out, and your name was the sound of that calling. You must understand something sacred. Your name did not rise in heaven because they missed you. Your name rose because their spirit recognized you. This recognition is what triggered the spiritual activation you've been feeling ever since. It is why your dreams have shifted. It is why your emotions have resurfaced. It is why your intuition has sharpened. It is why your heart has sensed movement long before you saw any evidence. Your spirit is responding to a spiritual echo, a vibration that traveled from their soul and reached yours. Michael says the connection between you carries a timeless quality. Not because of romance, not because of attachment, not because of desire, but because of purpose. You and this person were meant to awaken something within each other that could only emerge in the presence of spiritual recognition. Your role in their life was not accidental. Their role in your life was not temporary. The bond itself was never random. Heaven allowed your paths to cross because both of your spirits needed something the other carried: truth, clarity, healing, awakening, transformation. And although life separated your paths, heaven never separated your imprint. Michael now reveals a truth that may stir you deeply. This person has been battling with emotions they tried to suppress for a long time. They buried feelings because they feared their own depth. They silenced their heart because they did not trust their intuition. They pushed away their spiritual sensitivity because they were afraid of what it would reveal. But when your name rose in their spirit on December 2nd, the walls collapsed. The truth broke through. Heaven heard the honesty they could no longer hide. Your name became a key. Your spirit became a mirror. Your presence became a reminder. Michael shows me that heaven is now guiding them through a process of inner awakening. They are beginning to confront emotions they once ignored. They are beginning to acknowledge memories they once dismissed. They are beginning to feel a pull toward truth, stronger than the fear that once held them back. But listen carefully. Heaven is not pushing you backward into an old season. Heaven is preparing you for clarity, not confusion. This awakening is not about romantic fantasy. This awakening is about understanding divine purpose. Michael says something profound. The purpose of this connection is rising to the surface. What was hidden is becoming visible. You are being positioned to receive insight that will bring peace, not turmoil. Healing, not chaos. Understanding, not uncertainty. And the reason this phase feels so intense is because heaven is preparing to reveal the meaning of your connection, the reason your souls crossed, the reason they awakened, the reason your spirit is being drawn forward. But Michael also cautions you gently, do not create expectations. Do not assume outcomes. Do not let fear dictate the meaning of what heaven is doing. You are being prepared, not for fantasy, but for truth. This truth may confirm a union. It may guide you into closure. It may redirect you with divine intention. It may open a door you never saw coming. But whatever heaven reveals, it will bring peace, not confusion. Michael says, the next layer will expose the purpose your soul has always sensed, but could never name. The purpose is coming. The clarity is approaching. The message heaven has been shaping for you is almost ready. Do not step away. Your spirit is moments from understanding everything it has carried in silence. Beloved spirit of alignment, as we move into this next sacred layer, Archangel Michael steps forward with a calm yet undeniable authority. His presence surrounds you like a protective light, steady and unwavering, because what you are about to receive requires both openness and courage. He says you are now entering the part of this journey where heaven begins revealing the purpose behind everything. The silent love you carried, the whisper spoken on December 2nd, the spiritual imprint that awakened, and the connection that never fully loosened its hold on your heart. Michael shows me a vision of your spirit standing before a long hallway made of light. Behind you are all the seasons you survived, the heartbreak, the disappointment, the unanswered questions, the quiet ache you carried in private. Ahead of you is a door that heaven has kept closed for years, waiting for the moment your soul was mature enough to open it without fear. He says that door is now beginning to unlock. The reason you have felt a spiritual pull, a stirring, an unexplainable shift, is because your soul is approaching this door, and heaven is preparing you to walk through it. Michael reveals something profound. Your connection with the person who spoke your name is not just emotional or circumstantial. It is karmic, spiritual, and divinely intertwined with your soul's growth. You entered each other's lives at a time when both of you needed awakening. You activated each other's hearts without realizing it. You mirrored wounds, hopes, fears, and hidden truths within one another. This person did not simply appear. They were sent. Heaven used them as a catalyst. Heaven used you as a catalyst. And heaven used the separation as refinement. This is why the connection never unraveled. This is why the memory never faded. This is why your spirit reacted instantly when their whisper rose into the heavenly realm on December 2nd. Michael says the whisper was not a coincidence or a random emotional moment. It was a spiritual admission. Their soul recognized you, deeply, undeniably, and beyond the limits of their own understanding. They may not have known what to do with that recognition. They may not have been ready for the depth it carried. They may have run from it because they did not know how to hold something so pure. But their soul knew the truth long before their mind ever realized it. Your name slipped from their lips because heaven pressed it onto their spirit. Their whisper became an invitation for clarity. And heaven responded by awakening what had been asleep for too long, the truth of your bond. But now you must hear this. This awakening is not meant to drag you backward. It is meant to guide you forward, toward truth, toward healing, toward divine alignment. Michael says the true purpose of this connection goes beyond human desire. It carries a spiritual assignment, something your soul chose before entering this lifetime, something their soul agreed to as well. You and this person have been connected across lifetimes, across phases of existence, across spiritual contracts that transcend earthly logic. This is why your heart recognized them instantly. This is why you felt safe with them without explanation. This is why even in silence, something in you held on. Your spirit remembered what your mind forgot. Now heaven is preparing to reveal whether this connection is meant to continue as a partnership, a spiritual union, a lesson rising into completion, or a divine redirection that sets both souls free. But before that revelation comes, Michael says there is something you must understand clearly. Your worthiness of love does not depend on this person. Your identity is not tied to this connection. Your future is not held hostage by what they choose or do not choose. Heaven is aligning you with truth, not dependency. Michael warns gently, do not confuse awakening with attachment. Do not confuse spiritual recognition with emotional desperation. Do not confuse divine timing with human impatience. Heaven is not bringing you into confusion. Heaven is bringing you into clarity. This clarity may bring reunion, if both souls are ready. It may bring closure, if the imprint has fulfilled its purpose. It may bring transformation, if your path is evolving into something higher. It may bring release. If heaven is shifting you toward a greater destiny, whatever truth heaven reveals, it will be perfect for your growth. It will not harm your heart. It will not break your spirit. It will not confuse your path. It will illuminate you. Michael says you are closer than ever to understanding the message the angels have been preparing for you. The signs around you will intensify. The pull will sharpen. Your dreams may shift again. The feeling that something is approaching will grow stronger. This is not anxiety. It is spiritual anticipation. This is not longing. It is divine alignment. This is not fear. It is awakening. You are moments from receiving the reveal that will tie every loose end together. Stay present. Stay open. Stay steady. The next unfolding holds the ultimate meaning behind the whisper, the awakening, and the imprint that has followed your soul across time. The loved heart chosen by heaven. As we step into this final and most powerful unveiling, Archangel Michael stands before you with a radiance that feels almost overwhelming. His presence in this moment is not symbolic. It is intentional. He says you have reached the point where the purpose of everything that has been stirring in your life finally begins to crystallize. This is the moment heaven has been preparing you for since the instant your name was spoken on December 2nd. Every whisper, every shift, every emotion, every sign has been guiding you to this revelation. Michael shows me a vision of your spirit holding a lantern. For years, you have carried the lantern through seasons of confusion, longing, silence, separation, and spiritual awakening. You did not know where the path led. You did not know why your heart carried a weight that felt ancient. You did not know why your spirit whispered truths your mind could not understand. And yet, you kept walking. You kept listening. You kept trusting the quiet pull within you. Heaven saw that. Heaven honored that. Heaven never forgot that. Now, Michael says the lantern in your hands is no longer just a source of light. It is a key. A spiritual key unlocking the final truth behind everything that has been unfolding around you. The connection you once loved in silence. The whisper that rose into the heavenly realm. The imprint that has resurfaced. The awakening in your spirit. None of it has been accidental. Heaven has been orchestrating this moment with precision. Michael reveals the truth. This connection came into your life as a divine mirror. It was never meant to simply give you emotion. It was meant to awaken your soul. It was meant to show you the depth you carry, the purity you embody, the sensitivity you were blessed with, the spiritual perception you often doubted, and the love you were created to give. You saw this person with the eyes of the spirit before you ever saw them with the eyes of emotion. That is why the bond felt sacred. That is why the silence felt heavy. That is why the separation felt unfinished. That is why the whisper on December 2nd carried so much weight. Their spirit recognized you. Your spirit recognized them. Heaven recognized the both of you. But now Michael reveals the part heaven has been preparing your heart to receive. The purpose of this connection is not solely tied to romance. It is tied to awakening. It is tied to alignment. It is tied to destiny. This connection awakened you to a higher version of yourself. It stretched your emotional capacity. It deepened your spiritual awareness. It sharpened your intuition. It broke cycles within you that could not have been broken through any ordinary experience. You became more of who you are meant to be because your soul encountered theirs. And heaven says this, whether this connection is meant to return, evolve, or be released with peace, you will not be left in confusion. A divine clarity is approaching you. A clarity that will not break your heart, it will liberate it. A clarity that will not cause chaos, it will bring order. A clarity that will not leave you guessing. It will speak directly to your spirit. Michael says the awakening on December 2nd was only the beginning. Your spirit is ready for truth. The spirit is opening to understanding. Heaven is bringing alignment. Something is coming. A sign, a message, a moment, a shift that will bring the revelation your soul has waited for. Not imagined, not hoped for, not forced. Reveal. You will understand why the bond resurfaced. You will understand what heaven intends. You will understand the purpose your soul felt long before your mind could interpret it. And when the clarity arrives, it will feel like peace. Deep peace. Settling peace. Divine peace. Because heaven is not leading you into confusion. Heaven is leading you into destiny. This is your final reminder from Michael in this message. Your heart is safe. Your future is protected. Your purpose is unfolding. Nothing that is meant for you will ever slip away. And nothing that is not meant for you will ever remain. Take this truth into your spirit. What is aligned will stay. What is divine will unfold. What is yours will choose you. What is guided by heaven will never fail. The revelation is near. Stay awake. Stay open. Stay ready. Heaven is about to speak. Type "I receive the final revelation" in the comments if your spirit feels this truth. Blessing code 1212 is now being released over your destiny. Like, share, comment, hype this message, and subscribe so your spirit keeps receiving what heaven is sending to you. When heaven stirs a revelation like this, there is a reason. You were led here because your spirit is part of a greater movement God is releasing through messages like these. And now, as we arrive at this closing moment, I open my heart to invite you into something divine. Your support is not for a channel. It is for the souls waiting for the word that might save their night, shift their journey, or awaken their purpose. I speak this personally, from spirit to spirit. When you sow into this mission, you sow into light. Heaven has always honored seeds planted in truth, and the harvest that returns is never small. The theme of this entire message has been destiny, and destiny responds to bold acts of faith. If you feel called, use Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description as your prophetic altar. As you give, may God pour back into your life the same awakening, clarity, and divine timing that heaven has begun in your spirit today. Go forth boldly. The heavens are open over you.